Welcome to the UFC Belgrade Serbia card. It is a much different card than what last week should be, is my initial thought. Not as much wrestling. Hopefully, we get some stand up fights and hopefully, we get some finishes.
No, I agree. I mean, I actually don't see a lot of these guys having a lot of wrestling behind them. So, yeah, I'm hoping we get some wars.
First fight of the night is one that does not excite me. That and the other women's fight of the night include prospects. I think neither one of us really want to dig into the women's 115 division prospects. So we're just moving on, and we are going to start the night with another fight that has a prospect, but it is Jovan Lika versus Alexander Popik. These are heavyweights. Popik is coming up from 205 and on short notice. They're both making their debuts, but 11 finishes and 13 wins for Lika, who is Serbian. And I believe Popik is German, and he has 13 knockouts of his 21 wins. So two guys that try to get it finished, but I think that this is one where I'm definitely leaning the natural heavyweight. What do you have for this fight?
I mean, you kind of stole my thunder. Not that it wasn't kind of obvious. I'm leaning the same way. I think Popek's actually fought the better competition out of the two. But Lika, like you said, natural heavyweight. He's had, a little bit more time to prepare for this. And even though he's fought, I think, the weaker competition, I think he's going to come into it with a lot of confidence. And he's going to have youth and size on his side. So it's hard for me to go against that. Now, he is coming in, what I saw, at about minus 220. So I'm going to kind of circle back to this one. I'm not going to pick where I like it. I do like Lika, but he's going to be someone where I'm going to kind of do with a few of these is kind of roll into a money line parlay that I like.
Okay, I ended up giving Lika inside the distance at plus 130. I think he will be able to get it finished if he gets the win. I think that a lot of Popik's route to win is getting the KO, and I think it might be hard to finish Lika, who has never been knocked out before. But I'm interested to see what you put that with, because I also have that Lika money line in a parlay later on.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of just go over my parlays. I'll give picks throughout, but I think it's probably easy if I just give my parlays all at the end. I have a few different money line parlays that I like.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the easiest, and then
I do unfortunately like a lot of the favorites in this. I'm not sure about you. Not to hint at where I'm going with a lot of these, but I don't love putting. Last week it got me in trouble putting money on someone like minus 300, because if they lose, it sets you back a lot. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna roll a lot of these guys into favorable parlays that might get you to plus money.
Okay, yeah, and we will include the graphic at the end that has all these parlays as well, so to make it easier for all the millions and millions of people watching.
Absolutely.
The next fight of the night is Matthias Rebecki, who is a huge favorite. He's minus 650, and he's taking on Kyle Prepolek, who is plus 440. This is a fight where it's two guys coming in, lots of losses, 4 or 5 losses for Rebecki. Prepolek has lost all 4 in the UFC, but I'm really excited for this. I think this is a pretty fun, stylistic matchup. What do you got in this one?
I agree. I mean, this is one of those fights where I really don't care about records. These are guys that are coming in, and they both fight kind of fun. Rebeski actually should have won his last fight. He's fighting another guy that's on this card. But again, I'm not going to pick where this one's going to go. I'm actually not even super confident, especially how big of a money line he is. But I do think Rebeski will win this fight, whether he gets ahead in rounds and maybe loses the third round. I think he'll be able to get enough of an advantage and not get finished where he will inevitably win the fight.
I don't hate that. I was thinking I was going to do that, and the odds moved from like Rebecki was like minus 450, and he went all the way up to minus 650. I just don't think he should be minus 650 against anyone. I don't think Prepolek is that bad of a fighter. He has tough competition. His last 2 losses are, I believe, Dober and BSD. So I just don't think he's that bad. I think this is a much closer fight than the odds say. So I took Prepolek at plus 450. I just think it's worth a flyer. I think this could be a really close fight. This is one where this is a card where I feel like I'm on a few dogs, and it could be one where their lights get put out pretty quickly.
But you know what? When it comes to this, you can have a bunch of red X's next to your name. If you get one or two of these dogs, you're in the green. I hate that. Like I said, I do not like Robeski being that big of a favorite, but that is the way I'm going to lean. I have to put it with some other legs.
Yeah, I was prepared. I kind of took your approach, and I tried to not look at the lines as much as I got my thoughts together. And I was prepared to take him as high as like minus 250. Minus 650 is just crazy.
I agree.
The next fight of the night is Bogdan Grad, who is minus 196, taking on Denis Bazooka, who is plus
Bazooka,
152.
you're right.
Bazooka.
Yeah. Okay. I got Bazooka a little bit higher than that. Not a lot higher. Another person who's not looked great, doesn't have a great record in the octagon. He's an American, so I'm gonna back him a little bit here. The only reason I really am backing Bazooka versus Grad is because Bazooka does have the experience in the octagon versus Grad. And honestly, I've watched it a little bit on Grad. I just don't think he's that good anywhere, right? He doesn't have great wrestling, doesn't have great stand-up. I think this is a fight where Bazooka could go in there and get a win. Do I see him being like a long-lasting name in the UFC? Not really. But for plus money, I got him at plus 170. You're saying plus 152, I'd still take him. I like Bazooka as the underdog here.
Yeah, I think that's a mistype. I think it was plus 162 because that's what I have underneath as him at plus 162. Because I gave that same pick. I have him at plus 162. I didn't give him it quite as good as odds as you. But these guys are both coming off. I watched both their last fights. Brutal KOs.
Yeah.
I think that Bazooka, his might have been a little more brutal, and it was only 3 months ago. So that does worry me a little bit. But I agree with you that Bogdan Grad is just aggressive. He's not that great anywhere. I don't think he should be a big favorite against anyone. And I kind of like Bazooka, so I took him as a dog. You said you're on a lot of favorites this fight. I ended up being on a lot of dogs, which kind of surprised me.
I like that. I mean, if I liked the dog, I would much rather go with someone plus money. But yeah, this is one that I did go back and forth a little bit. I don't love much of anything. I don't love, like I did last week with the Walker fight. Like I don't have any of those fights that stand out to me and say like, oh my goodness, like what is this line? But I'm pretty confident where I stand on most of them.
No, from last week's card to this week's card to the one they have next week, this is a brutal 3-week stretch of fights and prospects and just not a ton of excitement. So we get through this stretch, I think we'll be good from there.
Yeah.
The next fight of the night, though, is Borislav Nikola, who's minus 186 against Mark Vlogden, who's plus 145. Nikola is a prospect. I don't have a whole lot on this fight. Vlogden he's a short little Russian. I think he's like 5'2" or 5'3". I don't know if he's great. I don't know if this other guy's great. I don't have a whole lot on this one. This is one I did a decent amount of research on, and I came to the pick of Nikola inside the distance. He seems to finish most of his fights when he gets the win. I'm not a big Vlogden guy from his 2 fights I've seen in the UFC. So I gave Nikola inside the distance, and I actually have him in just money line in some parlays I will give later as well.
So I'm with you. This is another one where I just kind of threw him into a parlay. I like him by finish too. That's not my pick, so you're gonna get the points on that one. But that's another guy I'll kind of circle back to. I don't have a ton on, like you said. I just don't like going the other way. I like Nikolic as well. He's gonna be a money line. He's gonna be in one of my parlays.
Yeah, and he's a Serbian, I believe. So
yep. Fighting in his backyard.
He's a somewhat big prospect, I believe. So you'd think they're setting up with a guy they think that he can win against. So that's what I hope is going to happen at least. The next fight is another somewhat exciting prospect in Michael Oliveira taking on Oban Elliott, who it's a pretty big step up in competition for Oliveira, who has fought a bunch of guys who have like 1 or 2 professional fights and then a knockout win on Dana White's Contender Series. But he's a prospect I really like. He finishes fights. He looks the part. and I am not an Oban Elliott fan. It is a giant step up in competition, though, so I'm interested to see where you're at on this one.
You know what, Ron? I would like you to finish where you're going with this because it sounds like you and I are on the same page. So just keep rolling, brother. Keep going.
I have Oliveira in round 1 or 2 KO. It's plus 115. I think he gets it done. I think Oban has been in a couple grappling matches his last couple fights. I think he wants to stand and bang, and I think this is the wrong guy to do it against. I think he gets his lights shut off.
I agree. I mean, coming off the Contender Series, Michael Oliveira, he has fought in LFA, which is, decent promotion. We've seen a lot of guys come out of there. I like the exact same line. I like Michael Oliveira. I was leaning just taking him by TKO, but I like him in rounds 1 or 2 also. I saw that plus 115 line, the same line. Sorry, I'm stealing a little bit of thunder, but I am riding with you on that one. I like him plus 115, 1 or 2.
No, I like that you're on that side. I was a little bit worried that you were going to be on Elliott, and I have seen some guys I like on Elliott at this number. I actually have Oliveira in some parlays as well at minus 340, which I don't hate. I'll probably be on that number as well if my day is not going disastrous. But I have not given that pick official yet. Just the first or second round KO.
Yeah, this is one of the ones where I'm not as confident in. So if he does win, I think it'll be in first or second round. So that's the reason why I kept him out of my parlays. But I do think he's going to win. I like him as a straight bet, rounds 1 or 2. I think he'll get it done. If he loses, I'm not trying to have that be the leg that crumbles everything else.
Well, if he loses, that will be the leg that crumbles. Crumbles 3 of my parlays, so I am leaning on him. I'm a sucker for a prospect like him or Peanuts, who is just going to come in and absolutely knock guys out. I really like betting on those guys. The next fight of the night is Ludovic Klein, who is minus 235, taking on Tovik Musayev, who's plus 180. This is one I really struggled to come to a pick. I do have a pick on this one, but I want to see where you're at first.
So this is one where, again, I'm hoping that our odds look about the same, but I like Klein in this one. I love the heart that he showed, like I said, in the recent fight coming back against Robeski, where it looked like Klein was going to get finished. I like Klein getting the finish here. I think that for me was putting him at about even money. I like Klein inside the distance.
Okay, am I crazy? Didn't he break his ankle in that third round against Robetsky?
Yeah, he was hurt. He was on the stool after the fight, but he did get the win.
Yeah, okay, that's what. Okay. I remember watching that fight. Yeah, he was sitting on the stool. He kind of won the first 2 rounds and then broke his ankle or foot or something, and he got his ass beat the third round, but still got the win. If I'm remembering that one correct, I ended up thinking this was a real coin flip fight. I went back and forth before I looked at the odds, and when I saw that Klein was minus 235, that just kind of made my decision for me. I thought this would be much closer to a pick'em, so I ended up getting Musayev at plus 190, a little bit better number than I even said. I don't love it. I could see him losing all 3 rounds. I could see him getting knocked out. I like how Klein fights. But I do think this guy's pretty good, and I just think this is, again, much more of a coin flip fight.
Yeah, I agree. I like Klein in this one more than I probably should. This does close out the first parlay that I have as well. I have him inside the distance at even, but I also have him in a parlay with Nikolic and Lika.
Okay, that's Lika, Nikola. Okay, well, I'm on 2 of those legs with you, so I hope you at least get those 2. I don't know if I can root for that third one.
That's okay.
But if we get to that leg, at least hopefully one of us wins, because I have those 2 those 2 in other parlays as well.
Okay.
The next fight of the night is one I do not have a pick on. It is a fight where both guys are coming in with every single win a finish, which I love prospects like this. They're both making their debut. It's Noah Grugnon versus Milos Janicic. I got it as a pick 'em minus 110 on each of them right now. I don't have a pick. I did some research. Nothing really stuck out to me. Do you have anything on this one?
Yeah, so I agree. I mean, it's a pick 'em, like you said, and justifiably so. But I think Janicic has a striking advantage in this one. I see this being potentially a war or someone going to bed early Saturday night or Saturday during the day, whatever it is here. But he does have a striking advantage, I think. He's had some kickboxing fights. And it didn't work out for me last week, but I just love betting against the French. So I'm going with Janicic in this one.
Okay, well, my notes say just follow KJ's pick on this, so I guess I'm on him as well. I'm not going to give it, but I'll be on it. It's a fun matchup, and betting against the French is fun, so
Yeah,
hopefully
and
we get
we'll have to look at the
Patty the
odds in
Betty.
this one. Depending on where we can get it, this is one where I'm gonna definitely go either under 2.5 or under 1.5, depending on the odds. I haven't looked, but I like that too.
Man,
Like
this
you
is
said.
one where every time I looked at an over-under on rounds on this card, it was shockingly juiced to the over. A lot of unders looked like that's what Vegas is thinking, and I thought I was going to bet some, and I didn't end up pulling the trigger on any.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was seeing too. That's why it's so hard for me in some of these to bet. I love doing inside the distance or under a round and a half, under a 2.5. But I agree, that's what I was seeing too. So versus last week, I think we see some exciting finishes here. Just not fun to bet on because you're right, you're paying the price.
Yeah, and this next fight is one where I'm thinking you're going to get a quick finish. I think it could be in the first round. It's Vlasto Seppo, who's minus 360, taking on Gilbert Urbina, who's plus 260. He's coming up from 170. His last fight, he took on Urso Medic, who's in the main event, and he got knocked out. He's been finished in 3 or 4 at 170. He's coming up fighting a Serbian guy, I believe, who's super aggressive. I'm not a big Gilbert or Urbina guy, and I took Seppo by KO at minus 220. I don't love it. I kept it out of parlays just because he's making his debut, but this is more just a bet against Urbina.
So I'm with you. I don't like Urbina either. There was another one I had a hard time going with inside the distance or rounds on this one. I do have Seppo. I'll kind of come back to that. That's another one I have as a leg in a parlay coming up.
Okay, you're going to have a decent amount of parlays, it sounds like.
No, just a couple.
Just a couple? All right, the next fight of the night is Robert Valentine, who is minus 178, taking on Dusko Todorovic, who's plus 140. Again, I do not have a pick on this fight. I went back and forth. My instinct when I really can't decide is to take the dog, but I couldn't pull the trigger on Dusko. I want to see what you think on this one.
So this is one, yeah. I mean, I don't think Valentine's good, but I think Dusko's worse. So I think that Valentine's a good striker. He has literally no wrestling from what I've seen, but I don't think he needs it here. I think he's just kind of inside of a good matchup. I got him at minus 165. I'm not sure what you're looking at right now, but I think that as a straight bet in this, I don't think you really need many other legs. I'm not super confident, so that's where I'm going to go. But I just think Dusko's not good. So I'm going Valentine minus 165.
I agree. I just couldn't pull the trigger on Dusko, so maybe I should just follow you on that. Minus 165, it's moved in your direction a little bit, so these lines are from yesterday morning, which cards like these, I feel like the lines do move quite a bit, so not perfect, but I'm going to follow you on that and be on Valentine. I didn't give it as a pick, but got to be on something, especially for the main card.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel pretty good about that one. Like I said, Dusko's just not good.
Well, this next fight, I have a feeling I'm going to be on the opposite side of you. It is Alexander Rakic at minus 350 taking on Marcin Tybura, who's plus 255. This is Alexander Rakic's first fight at At heavyweight, he's moving up. He has 4 losses in a row at 205, 3 of them being KO. But Tybura is not the toughest matchup at heavyweight. So, what do you think happens in Rakic's first fight at heavyweight?
Dude, Tabora has to be one of the most boring heavyweights there is, right? For a while, he was like a top 10 guy. He was beating a lot of people. I don't think he should have, but he's coming off an absolutely terrible performance. I think Rakic is good. I mean, he's been fighting kind of the best of the best at light heavyweight for a long time. I just think he's going to have the speed. I also think he has the power. I just think Tabora stinks. I like Rakic inside the distance in this one. I think he could get him out of there, but Tabora doesn't get finished a ton. So I also, just as like a backup plan, I also do have a Rakic money line that holds Seppo and goes all the way back for a little bit of value with Rebeski.
Okay. Well, I did read this one right because I am on the big boring Marcin Tybura inside the distance at plus 600.
Wow.
He has 6 finishes at heavyweight in the UFC. He has eight decision wins, so he's more likely to get the decision. But moving up from 205, coming off 3 or 4 KOs, I just think it's decent value. I don't think Tybura is quite finished yet. I think he's going to be very tough to finish. His big head can just eat shots left and right, and I think he's going to do that early, especially. But I think he might be able to get a takedown and find a finish on the ground. That's kind of what I see happening somehow.
Okay, I mean, I don't not like that. Like Rakic, I feel like wins almost every first round, right? But you're right. He slows down. He gets picked apart. Plus 600. I didn't even look at that line. That's great value. And if he does win, I think it's probably going to be like that. I don't hate it. I don't like Tabura. I'm going with Rakic. He's got to get a W. It's due.
Yeah, I don't love Tybura either, and it's definitely not a bet I'm super excited about. But it's just one of those value bets where I just thought it was too high to ignore. We gave away a little bit in our last video where our initial thoughts on this next fight, the co-main of the night. It's Navajo Sterling, who this line shocked me. He's minus 350, taking on Jan Blachowicz, who's plus 255. I said it the other night. I'm not a Sterling guy. I'm sticking with it. I don't have a whole lot to add, but I'm definitely on Jan. I was thrilled to get him at plus 255. That was the first bet I put in as soon as I saw he was a dog. Everyone I've looked at, everyone I've done research listening to talk about the fight is on the other side. So that is a little bit scary, but I'm sticking by my guns. I'm not a Sterling guy. And that's after I've won 2 straight bets on him. So to not be a Sterling guy after 2 straight wins on betting him is unusual for me.
I think we covered Sterling's last fight. We spoke a little bit about it, and that's why I'm with you. He started his last fight so slow. I get he's a great prospect. He's young. I think he's really good. He admitted to taking this fight when he was like on a bender. I guess he got a call and they were like, "You gonna fight Jan, or do you want to fight Jan?" He was like, "Yeah, sure." I like the confidence. I appreciate that, but old man Jan, dude, is still Jan. Like we're talking about a former champ. I think he's getting disrespected with this line here. Sterling is good, but if he starts out as slow as he did in his last fight, this is only a 3-round fight. You can't just give someone like Jan the first round. And if he does do that, I mean, the odds are going to swing a ton. We could always cash out if we wanted to. But I like Jan in this. I got him at plus 260. I'll take that all day long.
Well, we are aligned on that one. I have a feeling we're going to be aligned on this one as well. The main event of the night, Urso Medic at minus 410, taking on Daniel Rodriguez straight out of Tijuana prison at plus 290. I'll let you lead us off on this one. What do you have for the main event?
I mean, you just said it, dude. I think Rodriguez is really good. I think he's really durable, super tough. But I don't know what kind of like mindset you're coming into this fight on, coming out of prison in Tijuana. We've lived near Tijuana. That doesn't seem like a good time. And Medic, the hometown guy, coming in super hot, finishing everyone. I like Medic in this one inside the distance. I just think he's faster, more explosive. And Rodriguez is tough, but I think he's kind of slow. I could see, he is tough, but Medic has been finishing people that I didn't think he would finish. So I gotta go with him. He is a big favorite, but I like him inside the distance for sure. And I think with Rodriguez being that tough, we're getting a good number.
Yeah, I didn't take him inside the distance, but I took him by KO, which I feel like is his path inside the distance. He could get a sub, I guess, but I feel like it's going to be that left hand if it's a finish. I'm a little worried that Rodriguez isn't super easy to finish. I think he's only been KO'd once with a head kick from Ian Gary. But 9 months, or was it 6 months or 9 months in Tijuana prison? He's 39. He's getting up there at 170. That's a weight class where the age starts to show quick, and I just think he's going to get knocked out. I did watch a lot of Medic's fights, and he does seem to get caught with a right, like every single fight, and dropped. So that does worry me a little bit because Rodriguez is dangerous, but he's also pretty durable. I just think he'll find the KO. He's a Serbian. He's at home. I think that's what they want, and I think that's what they kind of served him up on a platter with Rodriguez.
Couldn't agree more. I think Rodriguez probably needed a few bucks in this one. He's going to get it, and I think he deserves it. But I think it's going to be going home a little groggy. I think that Meta gets the knockout in this one for sure.
Okay, well, that's all the fights. Let me give you a chance to read off your parlays that you have.
So, yeah, I didn't have a ton, but, like I said, the first parlay, I had the Klein money line with Nikolic money line and Lika money lines. I had those three together. I'm not going to even read off. I got it at like plus 200, but I'm not sure what you're going to see for that.
Okay, no, that's fine. I'll take your odds for that. So you got that at plus 200?
Yeah, and then I got Rakic, Seppo, and Rebeski all together. I got that, not lovely, but I got that at about plus 180.
Okay, those are both pretty likely to hit, so I'll get those on the graphic for sure. My parlays for the night is I have Lika with Oliveira, and that is minus 119. I have Oliveira with Nikolic, that is minus 115. And I have Lika inside the distance, Oliveira round 1-2 KO, and Seppa KO parlay, and that is plus 619. So that one's a little juicy, and I don't hate that one. I was pretty happy to place that one. So those are my bets for the night.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, and the reason I'm really confident in Medic, but the reason I didn't put that in any parlays, the last fight of the night, you kind of gauge where you're at. If you need to make up a lot of money, then you go a little heavier depending on what you're bankrolling. And if you're sitting pretty, you still put more money on it because you got chips to spend. So I would measure my unit size at the end of the night in that Medic fight, depending on how the rest of the night goes.
All right. Well, we will do that, and I agree. I might have to throw a little bit more on him if I'm having a night. Either way, a good night or a bad night. So we'll see.